Oh, yeah, man. Wednesday. The Filthy Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving. Remember, folks, when cooking that turkey, you want the center of the bird to be about, I'd say about 62 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you have, like, liberals coming over, people that you fight with every Thanksgiving that don't agree with you politically because you think like I do, what you want to do is you save a little bag of that raw turkey juice. Then say, who wants dessert at about 5 o'clock? And you dip those lady fingers in that. And then watch them call you the next day from the toilet. What the fuck happened there? And again, if you don't know how to stuff a turkey, I couldn't find a video how to stuff a turkey, so I went on, YouPorn, and I went to fisting. I've used those two jokes for about 5 Thanksgivings now. I used to tweet them out. Great show we got. Today's a different little take on the show. We have a guest, and a good one. He's an author. His name's A.J. Rice. Publius PR firm he runs in Washington, D.C., and he's been I'm giving you the intro in about 2 seconds. But it's a great interview because he's funny and way more animated than I thought. And God, he made Nick DiPaolo nervous with stuff, and he's great. He's just he's got a great book called The Walking Dead. So enjoy. My guest today is the CEO of Publius PR, hope I'm saying that right, a premier communications firm in Washington, D.C. He's a brand manager, star whisperer, and auteur media influencer who has produced or promoted people like Laura Ingraham, Judge Jeanine Pirro, Donald Trump Jr., Mark Meadows, Dan Bongino, Charles Carter, Steve Calise, and many, many more. Kind of an old friend of mine, but I don't think we've ever met. We've been in touch for a long time, and he helped me get Donald Jr. on this show, folks. So show this guy the respect he deserves. You hear what I'm saying? Please welcome A.J. Rice. He's got a great book out called The Walking Dead right now. I'm about a third of the way through it, and man, you're nailing it, man. You're right on top. Welcome to the show, AJ. How are you? Have we ever?
Nick, my brother, we have met at the Arlington Cinema and Draft House.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Tearing it up, brother. Tearing it up.
That's right. The Draft House. He has an alcohol problem like myself.
I do. I get in one of those office chairs. I start racing people down through Arlington, down Columbia Pike.
What he's talking about is that club had chairs like they ripped them out of an old Lincoln.
Exactly.
Right?
Like an abandoned office match.
Yes, and they would recline. It's the first time people heckled me as they were reclining. Hey, you suck. Yes.
I will say to their credit, they got people back in there during COVID pretty quickly. Like they didn't play a lot of games, at the door or like masks or whatever. DC was still shuttered.
Of course.
And Arlington was, they were, at least that club, they were letting people back in there. So I got to give them a little shout out.
You should. And only 14 people died, I heard, after that opening show they
did.
On the
exactly. The baker's dozen of dead people. I'm sure they're still sitting in those recliners.
I want to be buried in one of those. That is a great club, man. You're right about that. They and anybody that has me and doesn't mind what I say, and has me back, even after getting letters here and there, is I
agree.
All right.
I agree. Well, they've had they got a pretty good reputation. They let some left wing kooks in there, but I was in there. I talked to Lovitz in there. Talked to you in there, Jimmy. They've all been through there. So, yeah, they bring a lot of Comedy Central trash in there, but they let you guys in there to tear shit up. So I like it.
Wait a minute. When you said Jimmy
Norton. Norton was in there.
Thank you.
And I think maybe Florentine might have been in there,
Jimmy, go Florentine.
But Lovitz dropped some bombs in there. I mean, he was in there just trashing his friend that he used to golf with, Caitlyn Jenner. And, I mean, he was praising Trump. And, I mean, it was crazy.
Wasn't that a shock to you? John Lovitz, to me, that one surprised the hell out of me. Maybe I'm just, I don't know why.
No,
I assumed,
absolutely. Look, I think Dennis Miller did a number on a lot of those guys from that era.
Right.
That kind of is the last era, with Schneider and Norm and Miller and Colin, Quinn and that whole gang. Yeah. They seem to be the last ones that could sort of make fun of everyone.
That's a
And
great.
these generations that have come after, they're all just in their diapers. They're in their millennial Gen Z crybaby snowflake diapers, which is a shame because it's, as you know, it's lazy comedy where they take old Palin jokes and they turn them into Trump jokes.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, I don't know. I guess they got a new cast on SNL. We'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, it'll change.
Yeah, right.
Well, we got that trans kid who's already upset that Dave Chappelle. Oh yeah,
I know.
I mean, these guys are the antithesis of what the DNA of a comedian's supposed to be. You're supposed to have zero sensitivity, in my opinion. Okay, and that's a great point you made. I never really thought of that about Colin and Schneider and.
That's really the last group. You know, Phil Hartman, even David Spade. He was, Dana Carvey. You know, they for some reason Kimmel let him host, and all of a sudden he starts trashing Biden. I haven't seen him since. I don't know what happened there.
That's right. When was that, AJ?
It was right about a month before the election, the midterm.
What?
Crazy, right?
What? And Kimmel's another one to surprise me because I knew Jimmy. Look, and it's hard for me to badmouth these guys because I've done their show. They've been nothing but nice to me when I lived in LA. I've done all their shows, but they've just turned into advocates for the Dem Party. They're not TV show hosts. And Seth Meyers.
I mean, Carolla and Jimmy Kimmel are still buddies, and I've asked him over the years like how they work that out.
Yeah,
you know, it's like Sandler and Affleck. You know, they used to be in the bathtub together, and now there would be. You'd think they'd be butting heads,
right?
But apparently they try to keep it at the door. He sort of writes it. I think he still does some writing for him, maybe. So I don't know. I mean, they seem to be able to work it out.
I got another theory that Kimmel doesn't believe anything he's saying for ABC, and he's just going with the money. I love when people.
Yeah,
He
recently said that. He said Disney brought me in and said, you know, he said I'm going to quit if you tell me to stop making fun of Trump or Trump's voters. So that just tells me, though, that this is not even really about money. It's pure ideology across the board, which is a shame. I mean, all these guys are all Gen X, monochromatic white guys, right? That Paolo probably used to throw dodgeballs at.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, they're all kind of the same other than, the guy at The Daily Show who's leaving, Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
But they're all sort of cut from the same cloth. They're all kind of look the same. And there's a section of the book on that, too. I mean, they are monochromatic.
Right.
It's a shame. You would think. I mean, I want everyone to get blasted.
That's right.
And then let the audience be the jury.
That's how it works. When everybody, who did I say this to recently? I can't even remember. My wife and my girlfriend. Anyways, it was no. Who did I was sitting next to somebody, and we were talking about. I said, "You have to." You know, somebody's saying, "I love when you and Patrice would attack each other." But I go, "That's how you." It's a comedy is a valve that lets the pressure out. The more you suppress that, it's like a ticking time bomb, and that's why we're at each other's throats. But I mean, this male bonding thing is really, to me, the solution to all this. When guys get together and I could say anything racially to Patrice, and he would, me too. And somehow Colin Quinn was genius to get that on TV. But through even music, but more so comedy, because comedy, for some reason, they take us very seriously, ironically, when comics say something.
Many libertarians have said that once the comedians are afraid, you know that true fascism has arrived. So, you got a guy jump on stage and try to stab Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
That's cancel culture. It's no different than somebody trying to stab Salman Rushdie or somebody trying to stab Lee Zeldin or somebody giving out Brett Kavanaugh's home address. If they can't deplatform you or demonetize you or shadow ban you digitally, they may show up and try to attack you physically because, they count on the digital brown shirts to help them. But when they can't, some of these people, they go over the line. Rand Paul's neighbor broke his ribs. Steve Scalise had a softball game shot up by a Bernie Sanders lunatic. Look, the Republicans are going to take back the House, and I've been telling people, get ready. The minority, the Democrat Party, is going to be smaller, more radical, more vocal. They may start acting like these lunatic global warming people that are damaging artwork and gluing themselves to the wall. You may turn on C-SPAN someday, and AOC's got herself Elmer glued to the wall, just screaming. Because, in the old days, like the Bush days, when I met you, it was just really the stinky anti-war protesters.
Right.
It was just,
That's
it was Code Pink and Medea Benjamin,
Right.
not taking showers, sleeping in the halls of Congress, and then they would scream during, Alito's confirmation, and
That's
they would be taken out slowly. But now all bets are off. These people are unhinged.
I'm so tired of it. There's no room for talk anymore. I mean, I can't believe I'm this close to living. It's fascinating to watch. I'm 60. I might see an actual. I don't think this hyperbole, a civil war or some type of. There's no more room for words. It's almost go time. I don't want to. Anyways, I'm talking.
Well, look.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, just to touch on your world.
Yeah.
So I did a piece. It's not in the book, but it got a lot of play after Will Smith smacked Chris Rock.
Yeah.
That and they kind of just sort of gave him a little slap on the wrist.
Yes.
That kind of, and remember, that was a month before Chappelle almost got stabbed.
Right.
That was kind of a wink and a nod. Like, I wrote a piece called "The Front Row is Over," meaning, so now. We got free speech. The pinnacle of free speech in this country is not these stupid newspaper reporters. It's you guys. So you guys get up there. I don't care whether it's DePaulo or Carlin or Joan or Lenny Bruce, whoever it was at the time. Your job is to be the truth tellers and to rip all of us. And now, because Will Smith got his wife off the leash, he's slapping Chris Rock across the face and sitting down. Chris Rock handled it great, by the way.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely. I'm sure some comics that wouldn't have went down the same way. But try slapping Dice or like Kinnison or you. I mean, it's just not happening, right? It's not happening. That was to me a form of censorship.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I saw it as.
Even Jim Carrey, Mr. Left Wing Canadian, even remember he called it out. He goes,
sure.
He goes, now we're the uncool kids or whatever. Not that they were ever fucking cool, in my opinion. But even he said, this is ridiculous that he wasn't asked to leave. And, you're just noticing the double standard when it comes to race now, Jim? Seriously. And I'm happy. Everybody's singing the praises of Bill Maher for finally coming around. But I hold those people accountable. We're at this point. Bill Maher is a huge voice for the left. That show's been a huge hit for years on HBO. And now people are like, well, he finally gets it. Yeah, but he helped create this mess. I'm not letting anybody off the hook. No fucking apologies. Sure. I'm not getting apologized for COVID. Nobody's apologizing.
Yeah, you should.
So I'm talking, by the way, to AJ Rice. He's got a great new book out called The Woking Dead. He's the CEO of, did I say that?
It's a hard use sound. Publius.
It is Publius, like pubic. I know.
There you go.
I didn't. I knew it was some type of Latin in there. Publius. Anyways, he's the book is great. Tapping into it right now. Let me just hit you with a few questions. Who should the Dems fear more, AJ? DeSantis or Trump?
Well,
that's a tough one. I know, right?
I think they're more afraid of DeSantis, and they're willing to let Trump blow him up for them. We are going to see a King Kong versus Godzilla situation. You heard it here first. DeSantis, and I've had a lot of consultants say to me that DeSantis is, at least for a little while, going to let Trump just kind of keep leaving voicemails like a girlfriend, right? Like crazy.
It's a great analogy,
right?
Yes.
And to see how far he'll take it,
right? And
see maybe if he'll bury himself. Now, people have tried to count Trump out forever.
Can't do that.
He is an uncanny ability to resurrect and redevelop, and he's just like a caterpillar into a butterfly every couple of years.
That's right.
And quite frankly, Trump is at his best when he's counted out. Trump is at his best when you think that the knockout punch is coming. And that's when he unloads some craziness on you. He just and some of it's brilliant. Like when the Access Hollywood tape comes out, and Billy Bush is like thrown in Gitmo, and all of a sudden Trump, thanks to Bannon, is holding a press conference with all the Clinton accusers. So it's going to be a little hard. It's going to be a little harder to do that to Ron, than he did to say Jeb Bush or what he did to Obama or what he did to Hillary.
Right.
But it's definitely going to be great entertainment. So, Trump the underdog is always the best.
Oh my God. That because he'll never look at himself as an underdog. That's why you got to love him. Yeah. So I don't know with DeSantis. Do you think people are going to go, well, you know what? He's as effective as Trump. Obviously doesn't have all that baggage. I mean, and those are the idiots. So Trump was mean with his tweet. Who gives a shit? He got results. I can't believe people think like 12-year-old girls in this country when it comes to voting.
Exactly. But that's you and me. I mean, look, I grew up in Philly. You're Boston guys. Yeah. And I grew up listening to you with Opie and Anthony and Howard and everyone over the years. Don and Mike. Matt, I grew up listening to you guys and Louis and Leary and Colin, the whole gang.
Right.
So for me, I grew up on Trump. He was the playboy of the Western world.
Right.
He was in New Jersey. He's flying Howard from his helicopter. Back and forth. And wasn't really friends with Limbaugh until the last decade because of Palm Beach and stuff, even before he ran.
Right.
So for me, Trump was always this character. Now, he was new, he was fresh in 15 and 16. And the people he pissed off are the people that, they got their underwear twisted up. I call them the pumpkin spice mafia. These are the women in suburbia with freaking humanities degrees in their driving around in their Audis.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Drinking the pumpkin spice lattes in their Peloton. They've got their virtue signaling Black Lives Matter flag hanging on the front of their $1 million house. Please don't rob me. Don't rob me. And the whole time they're like fainting on Victorian couches because Trump said that Carly Fiorina's face looked like a frying pan. Okay? I mean, it might look like one, right?
A fucking Victorian couch. Do you hear that?
Right? Man, come on. Man. I mean, but they're the people we're worried about, right? We're going to be held hostage by the people that wear fleece vests.
Folks, did you just hear that run on sentence and the references in that? If that's not enough for you to go out and buy this book, because he can write his ass off, obviously. I like how, AJ, you called Joe Biden our first Chinese president. And the Republicans are already getting all excited. They have a slim margin in the House. We're going to have hearings and hold these people accountable. I'm so jaded. I almost called you. I almost texted you before this and said, I'm so cynical, AJ. I can't even talk about politics anymore because I really believe there's 12 guys in a room who have decided the fate of this country and other countries. That's where I'm at, but I pretend to think otherwise. But no, I believe what I say. But I'm just saying, I'm so cynical right now. Do you think, as far as the Republicans holding, they're going to hold Joe Biden, Hunter's feet to the fire. Anybody going to go to jail? That would be the question of guys like me. Even if they do all that, is it going to make a goddamn difference? One bit of difference.
Well, I'm talking to you now from Swamp Central. So I'm down here.
That's right.
And Nick, I've been down here since the first Bush W second term.
He's talking about Mexico.
I'm just telling
folks.
you, a lot of what goes on down here is like pro freaking wrestling. Okay, it's pro wrestling.
Yes.
Everything's happening between the 40-yard lines, back and forth.
Right.
However, because they're going to take control of these committees, and the House is always a little more amped up than the Senate, right?
Yes.
And if you're going to have your faith in anyone, have it in Jim Jordan, because he is going to get to the bottom of this. And McCarthy cut a lot of deals with Marjorie Taylor Greene, with Jim Jordan. Scalise is going to be the majority leader. That's a good thing. He came from the Freedom Caucus. The Cheneys and the Crying Adam Kinzingers, they're going to be gone. They're claiming that they're going to punish Schiff and Omar and all these other kooks.
I don't believe it.
We'll see if McCarthy can pull that off. But I will say, they can't do much because they don't control. I mean, look, Republicans have a problem of virtue signaling too. How many freaking times did we repeal Obamacare, send it up to Obama's desk, and he used it as toilet paper? I mean, it's like 200 times between Boehner and Paul Ryan. Right? So you're right. As far as legislation goes, you're right. But as far as like Jim Jordan going dumpster diving on Hunter Biden, that's really going to happen.
I believe
it's going to happen. I think so.
But
they'll then make a recommendation to the Justice Department.
Yeah.
And Merrick Garland, who moonlights as, Harry Connick Jr., I guess, or some shit. Merrick Garland is going to just basically take it and put it in the paper shredder. Yeah. So, I mean, how many times we tried to hold Lois Lerner and Eric Holder in contempt of Congress.
Right.
That's what they're arresting Bannon over that. They're arresting Navarro over that. Right. So that's what they've been using. It's never been enforced until now. And you are right. You're going to get a pro wrestling treatment from the Justice Department.
Right.
Forget it.
As far as you touched on this also in your book about COVID, how it gave the American people a real taste of, I think you said authoritarianism or totalitarianism.
Authoritarianism.
Yeah, authoritarianism.
Yep. Look, it was an authoritarian dress rehearsal. It was really one of these things where we got put into this tunnel of woke tyranny, and it even predates COVID because you had the Me Too movement comes along.
Right.
Madonna's outside the White House threatening to blow it up.
Right.
Okay, as far as I know, she wasn't a J6 protester, okay, waving an American flag around.
Yeah, exactly.
She's threatening to blow it up. Now, there were some scalps taken. There were scalps taken that shouldn't have been. But a lot of the people that were the worst offenders, the Weinsteins, the Epsteins, the Lauers, they've been protected by the left for 30 years. But you have the youth of America. We're all told, men need to take it down a notch. There's toxic masculinity. You need to get in line. You know, Ashley Judd needs to get paid the same amount as Tom Cruise. These crazy things that freaking happen, right? And basically that we're all rapists. You can't ask Sally to the dance.
Well, wait a minute.
Prom, whatever the hell it is. That was the first part of this, right? That's before COVID.
Yeah.
Then COVID comes, and with all these kids are sent home. Right. They already were born with a smartphone in their hand. They already can't freaking talk to each other.
Right.
You know, they have no interpersonal communication skills. And then George Floyd, the patron saint of fentanyl, dies.
Right.
So now we're all racist. So now we're sexist. We're all isolated. We're cooped up. Now we're all racists. And while all this shit's happening, the left comes out and says, now we're going to let Bill pitch in girls softball. We're going to let Gary and Tim into the women's locker room. And, you know, I joke with Ingram all the time and Monica Crowley, who you know, about how we used to joke about the book, Tommy Has Two Mommies. Right. Well, now forget that. Tommy's not even Tommy anymore. Tommy's got two mommies, two daddies. Tommy became Sally. Yeah. And it's crazy town. So if you want to know why Gen Z is all effed up, it's this shit. It's like a kaleidoscope of woke craziness.
When Harry met her, they're making it a movie when Harry met herself. That's the fucking sequel.
When Harry became Sally.
It's fucking insane. What else did I want to hit on here? Talking about, you used the term stealth conservative. I'm talking to A.J. Rice. He got a great book out, by the way, called The Walking Dead. You talk about, I think you said Mark Wahlberg. Define stealth conservative to my fans at home. It's so funny, AJ, because people come up to me even now, and I love my fans, but they'll go like, "Why don't?" I've been hearing this for 20 years. So is Colin Quinn. They're like, "Why don't you have a show like Jimmy Kimmel?" It's like, have you been listening to my comedy or heard me on O&A or Howard's? I said, I even try to explain to my friends. I go, you don't know the politics. Even shows now. I try to watch The King of Tulsa because it's got the Sopranos guys who are involved with the Sopranos. But sure. The first thing they do is create a relationship between Stallone, an ex-mafia guy, and a young black kid, and he beats up some guy that was mean to the young black. And I'm like, you can't even, that's called, when the message is more important than the quality entertainment, that's called propaganda to me. Am I right?
Absolutely.
No,
you're right.
What's the stealth conservative
unless you're gigantic, look, Chappelle is getting crap, right? Guys like you and Colin, and you guys have been out there. Well, the funny thing was, none of you ever led with, I'm a conservative, I'm a right-winger.
That's right.
What happened was, it's kind of like what happened with Naomi Wolf,
That's exactly
who's, this famous radical feminist, leftist. Camille Paglia is another one. The line moved. They moved the goalpost over you guys. And it's just like, it wasn't ever supposed to be like that.
That's right.
Right? So,
That's right.
It's not really that. So if you're starting out tomorrow and you're trying to get a gig in the club, then you probably are going to play to whatever the left wing, fad of the moment is.
Right.
Of course, comedy was never supposed to be this way. And I could sit here and talk about all the greats and near greats.
Right.
And they used to, go back and watch some of those roasts of like Sinatra and, Joan and Rickles and Dean Martin and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
There's crazy stuff going on there. All the Sammy Davis Jr. black jokes, they were flying, all over the place.
You don't even have to go back that far. Go back to the Pam Anderson roast.
Sure.
No, I think it was Larry the Cable Guy, what I said to Warren Sapp. Warren's defensive tackle Hall of Famer who could crush me with one hand. And I said, my joke to him was I heard Warren's agent in the green room before the show talking about his contract for the roast. And he said, no, I said 40 acres and 2 mules.
Right.
And Warren was laughing. Sure, he punched me.
What's great about some technology is that obviously you guys, there's a lot of comedians with podcasts. You guys are able to flourish, monetize, hopefully, without totally being shut down.
Little bit.
Kumia, all you guys. So that's a great thing. You guys have all sort of stayed true to, where you were pointing from the beginning. You're telling, you're trying to tell truth. It's trying to be edgy. It must be sad for all of you to watch Howard twist himself up. I'm stunned. He was Trump's best friend. He turned on him.
Yeah, I haven't.
It's crazy.
He showed his true colors. He's I would say it's money, but Jesus, we all know he has enough money. So I don't know what the fuck.
Sure.
I haven't listened to Howard since the last time I was on his show. That's how. But
right.
But yeah, I don't. I'm lucky, AJ. My career has sort of lucky and unlucky. I was out there on the front line saying this shit on Tough Crowd, and now I'm watching, and I like Adam Carolla, but I always have to bring him up. I feel like it's stolen valor when fucking Tucker has him on as that right-wing comic who's pushing back against the grain when he's not even a comic. He's a podcaster and he was a radio person who ended up doing comedy. Again, this is probably neither here or there, and I'm glad he's out there because he's a testosterone-giving guy, blah, blah, blah. But I was saying this shit on national TV before I had any money in the bank, and it sort of helped me. I never became like a commercial hit, but they're going after bigger fish, and I'm sort of like still. I'm not completely under the radar. I can draw people out to come see me live, and this show I've been saying pretty much everything I want for a few years.
Well, right. Look. The audience.
It's an insult.
I'll tell the audience. So I was the executive producer of the Laura Ingraham show, the Monica Crowley show, the Andrea Tantaro show. I had a news show that I did for John Solomon.
That's right.
And I'm like 24. But I grew up on O&A and Donna, Mike, and Howard and that whole deal, Comedy Central stuff. So Tough Crowd. So I knew who you were from that. And I was trying to get you on in that way,
Right,
and Monica, certain right wingers allowed it. I've seen you on with Gutfeld, and Fox is, that's like a steel trap over there. You gotta walk the line over there. Even I have to walk the line as a publicist for their people.
Right. Can you imagine? I'm helping Gutfeld, by the way. I get paid to punch up his monologue, so it's been working out beautifully. I sit home.
Good.
Every morning I send him stuff to punch
I'm
up.
glad he's out there. I'm glad he's doing, he's doing his thing.
Yeah. I like him. He's a quirky, funny dude.
He's a good dude.
And he's more of a comic than some people who are calling themselves. And again, and I don't want to, because I do like.
I like that idea. I like that idea of stolen valor. Comedy, stolen valor. I have to think about that. I have to write about it. That's there. Look, and and I'm shocked that Dane Cook did it. Go on with Louis on that episode, but Louis kind of let you say quite a bit on, some of those jokes in season 1 that you're telling where you're just arguing with each other about Obama. Yeah. So that shit will live in infamy.
He wrote that stuff. That's not me, but me and him.
Okay.
A lot of people, it's funny. Everybody asks because a lot of those episodes I was on was a lot of ad-libbing, but not that one. That he wrote that anytime. Well, I think it's another way, and Louis knows me so good. We were roommates. We've known each other forever. So he knows me. I know him. But when it comes to politics, I think he was going to control that episode. He wasn't going to let me fill in the dialogue.
You get a check from Joe for each one.
Before I forget, AJ, please tell Laura Ingraham, you got me to fill in for her on radio once. And to this day, I'm regretting because I hadn't done radio at that point in a couple of years. I almost said no because it's like sitting in somebody else's car. You don't know where I hadn't done radio in 2 years, and I was pissed because I love Laura Ingraham. I still watch her, and she's more conservative than me. But I always she had a nice. She's got a good edge to her. I don't know what. I just felt like I didn't get the job done that day. I felt fucking horrible.
Well, I mean, look, Laura's a tough cookie, I said that for 5 years. But she's fun, I know. I mean, look, she's Catholic. She's a Catholic convert. I always bust her stones about that because I'm like, she's trying to tell me what Catholicism is. I say, you just got here. So you're not telling me about Catholicism. She's like, oh, you cradle Catholics. You guys take it all for granted. But look, she's a breast cancer survivor.
I know.
I mean, she scares liberals. She scares cancer.
Yeah.
She'll scalp you. She's a lot of fun. Monica Crowley, also a lot I love Monica. They're down to earth people, but they're both smart. Fire and ice.
Tell them, please tell them both, and especially Laura, that to this day I wish I'm grateful that she let me sit in, and thank you for that.
Of course,
because I think she's sharp as a tack.
But look,
here's
one of the themes of the book. I want to get your take on this, just to sort of come full circle.
Yeah,
there's a section in the back. The whole back section's on comedy, and one of the sections is I call it the Nuremberg Trials of Comedy, because I wrote some of that section during this time period where Ricky Gervais is battling and Seinfeld saying I'm not going to here, and Me Too movement was trying to take down people.
Right.
Black Lives Matter trying to take. Kevin Hart's apologizing for crap 20 years ago.
Right.
So, I mean, I truly believe more than journalists that what you guys do is actually more important and than any of these people, these self-important people. Oh, well, our occupation was enumerated in the Declaration and the Constitution. Well, look, I wonder all the time if I could load up a 747 filled with Pryor and Joan and Lenny and Carlin and Dangerfield. And if I could just, remember you do when we invade a country, we drop leaflets?
Right.
Just drop all of you guys. I'll have you and Colin, your backpacks on. Just drop you guys across the freaking universities of America and just have you sort of secure each one like Saddam's palace. I think we would be in better shape than we are today, brother.
Dallas.
Really.
I mean, AJ, my producer Dallas is laughing because he did 2 or 3 tours in Afghanistan, jumping out of planes. My producer
God. There you go.
So
there
he's
you go,
laughing his
Dallas.
ass off
Well,
right
God
now.
bless you, sir.
And I think
that's service.
I think he's laughing because the thought of me jumping out of a plane, he's like, this guy would never fucking do. He's a big fag.
Exactly.
But let me ask you this. Here's an easy question to answer that won't put you on the spot. Was the last 2020 election rigged? Yes or no?
It was in the sense of, them running up the score with early voting and stuffing ballots and bundling ballots.
And hiding information.
And, part of the freaking problem with the Republican Party is they all wait till Election Day to vote. Now, I love that, right? They go before work, they go after work. Democrats aren't at work. So you can go in California and these other places.
That's right.
You can load up a freaking FUBU backpack and go into the ghetto or go to some tenement or go to some trailer park with a stack of things. Now, these people, they sleep till noon, okay?
What do you mean?
They're eating their Fruit Loops at 2 o'clock.
AG,
they're never gonna show up on Election Day, okay? So you walk up to the door. This is what these left-wing activists do. And they get an entire building to vote Democrat. Maybe they even have them filled out for them, like some Scantron from 8th grade.
Oh, they do.
And then they just stick them in the Zuckerberg boxes, and they're able to freaking run the score up. Well, Republicans, we're like a freaking horse and buggy chasing a Ferrari.
Yeah.
We need to run the score up. I mean, think about this. Think about all the dummies that voted early on Election Day before John Fetterman, who's like Carl from Sling Blade, debated Dr. Oz. Okay? None of them got to see him. None of them got to see him. And the ballots were already cast. So it's like a basement strategy. That nitwit that ran in Arizona won the governor's race. She never debated. She never left her basement, kind of like Biden.
That's right.
So it's working. And they're going to keep doing it unless we disrupt them.
That's what I'm saying. Why is it and I'm not going to end with this question because it would take 2 hours to answer, but I'm just going to give me a quick one because I got to wrap it up here because I have Flip Wilson's corpse in the waiting room. What does that even mean? I have no idea. What was my fucking question going to be?
I hope that's true.
What was going to be my final question was how? Oh, here it is. And again, you can't answer this in under a week, but can you? Nobody's been able to answer me this. Even the guy at Family Matters Research. What do you call it? Research Media. What's his name? Brent.
Family Research Council.
Yeah.
Okay.
How real quick, AJ? Why, and how did the libs get control of the media in this country? And not the conservative. When did that happen? Is there a specific incident? I've heard all kinds of theories.
Yes,
from
and I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version, and I talk about this in the book.
All right.
So the Woking Dead are like Baskin and Robbins, tons of flavors. But and we've always had political correctness. We've always had the nanny state.
Right.
But to know where they came from, you got to go back before World War I. When they got here, when the Marxists started showing up here, they knew they weren't going to get a plumber revolution. They weren't going to get a pipe fitter revolution.
Yeah.
They needed to infest like cockroaches the institutions. So they took over Broadway and the silent picture industry, the newspaper business, early radio, academia, and the teachers' unions. So if you fast forward 100 years to today, these are the same freaking villains we're fighting now. The only difference is big tech acts as a force field protecting them.
Right.
That's how they got it, because Republicans were too busy working on Wall Street or being farmers. They took over the humanities freaking department.
I know it.
And now we're fighting them.
I know
tooth and nail.
I know it was the Polish. I knew it.
Yeah, it was.
That made him.
It was. It was all those Wisniewskis that showed up.
AJ,
right?
Man, it's been a pleasure, and the book is really good, man. I'm not just saying that. You could hear from he covers everything from A to Z on why we're living in such a mess. And it's been great finally. Again, we met a while ago in Alexandria, but good to see you again. Good luck with the book, and congratulations.
Absolutely.
And yeah, please say hi to Laura and Monica, because they were both very friendly to me. I get into a few riffs in the Fox building when I went in there with a few of the big personalities.
They're fans. No, they're definitely fans. I think Janine is. I think Janine is too. So we'll be doing Janine's next book. We'll try to get her on here.
Oh, Judge
Hero.
I would tell her I would leave my wife for her tomorrow. Oh, we would kill each other. We're so much alike.
It's true. I mean, she's a pistol, but look, I've been surrounded by strong women. I was raised by one. I'm married to one.
Yeah.
I got a couple girlfriends that are tough. You know, they wear the leather.
Yeah.
But look, I want the audience to know Nick is a patriot. Keep watching this show. He's a fighter. He's never going to censor himself for anybody. Thank you.
So go out and get his book again, folks. Say it again. The Woking Dead.
The Woking Dead.
The Woking Dead. It's a great read. We'll see. I want to have you back sometime because you're a great interview. I don't have to say anything. Brother, I'll hit you up. I'll definitely be in touch. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right. Go Trump. Go DeSantis. That is it for today, folks. Again, thanks for tuning in. You guys think it, I'll say it. You're very welcome. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you back here on Monday, okay? Take care.
Hi, good night, everybody.